Undisputed. Lil Wayne was here on the show yesterday. Always so good to have him with us. And Skip, I think you've got a thought you want to share?
I do. Allow me to thank my friend and our friend, Lil Wayne, for getting up early to be on our show yesterday between concerts here in Southern California on Wednesday night and then last night at the Forum. But more important, number two, I want to thank Wayne for helping my best friend from childhood, his son at 22, who has been battling cancer. His name is Sam Humphreys. Wayne went out of his way to pep talk Sam during his chemo, had him out to the Forum, to the concert last night, gave him VIP treatment and shouted him out during the concert, and Sam got a standing ovation from the sold-out crowd. Wow. Thank you, Wayne. You're an all-time great artist, obviously. But Wayne is a good man.
He is. He really is, Skip. He really is.
Wow.
Hopefully, what's
Sam Humphreys.
Hopefully, Sam has a speedy recovery.
I'm going to be thinking about Sam. That was really powerful. Lil Wayne, thank you so much for doing that. We're going to move on. The Dolphins game last night was overshadowed by Kenny Stills, who stood by his criticism of team owner Stephen Ross after the game. Earlier this week on Twitter, Stills accused Ross of a double standard for both supporting President Trump while also fighting for racial equality. And last night added, quote, someone has to have enough courage to let him know he can't play both sides of this. For his part, Dolphins' new head coach, Brian Flores, understood and respected Stills' opinion, but wished the receiver talk to Ross directly first, saying, quote, that is something we have to do more of, more communication, more conversation if we want to make change. Shannon, do you like how Kenny handled this?
I do. Kenny Stills is real.
He is.
And I think a lot of people thought that once the anthem protest kind of died down, that Kenny Stills would go away, but he made it abundantly clear. He's like, I'm not going away. The things that I'm fighting for, I will continue to fight for, even if there's a different method in which I'm going to use. What he did, Skip, what transpired with Kenny Stills, and we don't normally see this. We don't normally see a player call out an owner. But what the president has done in this climate is he's forced you to choose sides. Skip, there's no one straddling the fence. You can't say, I don't want to talk. No. This climate won't allow you to do that. He's saying, I'm not going to, you're my owner. You're the owner of this football team. I'm not going to allow you to play both sides. I'm not going to allow you to say you're for diversity, you're for climate, you're for the environment, you're for this, and support that. You can't say, Skip, I hate apple trees, but I love apples. You can't do that because everything that you say you support, the guy that you're supporting is against. But it comes down to as simple as this, Skip. You know what this comes down to, Skip? This is another example of a rich, well-meaning, conflicted gentleman that ultimately votes with his wallet. That's all that is. It's as simple as that, Skip Bayless. I wish I can give you, because he says he's for environment, but the guy he's supporting is that every environmental thing that President Obama put in place to protect the environment, he wiped it away. He's doing away with protections for the LGBTQ community. He's doing away with that. He's making it harder for blacks to do certain things. But you say you support him, but you're against him on certain issues. Come on, man, you see what's going on. Come on.
By the way, in 2018, Stephen Ross was honored by the Jackie Robinson Foundation with a Lifetime Achievement Award, just for the record.
And then he had something negative to say about the guys in the anthem protest.
They will all stand.
Right. Yes. And little did he know in 1972 what Jackie Robinson said about the national anthem. He said, I will never, ever stand again. I will never, ever utter those words. But I guess he missed that part, Skip Bayless. But I'm sorry, Mr. Ross, but you're going to have to take the L on this one.
I love Kenny Stills, and I believe in Kenny Stills. I've communicated with Kenny Stills when he played for the University of Oklahoma Sooners a few years back. And I believe in his guts and courage and vision on this issue. I also liked what Brian Flores, the new first-year head coach, who has been under Robert Kraft in New England, I liked what he said about Kenny. And obviously, Brian is a coach of color. And he said last night, I asked Kenny why he didn't talk to the owner first, why he didn't tell him what he thought and have a conversation. I'm going to paraphrase the rest of a long quote. that communication is essential when it comes to these issues, that if we want things to change, we have to talk it through. That was my only issue with Kenny, is that he went straight, and he talked about it last night. He said, maybe I did it wrong by going straight to social media, because when you go to social media, you make it in part more about you than about it. Like, look what I'm going to do.
Right.
And he is a member of a football team, and I have no issue with the cause that he's standing up for and fighting against in this case. But he is a member of a football team that values its unity, and now he's turning the locker room, or helping turn the locker room, against that owner. And maybe that should happen. But Kenny believes so strongly in this cause that there's some hypocrisy, because he's still cashing this man's checks. If you really believe it with all your heart and soul, then you should either quit and go do another job, or demand that you be traded or cut and face the risk of nobody else picking you up or trading for you. Is that fair to say? That's how strongly I believe Kenny believes in this.
Well, but here's the thing. Stephen Ross believes so strongly in his support of this man that he's willing to put these guys out there on the field, even though as they was kneeling for the anthem. So should he not say, you know what, you're done? Skip, to give him credit though, Skip, because what we found out through some digging is that a lot of these owners have shown support. No problem with that. But they try to do it because they know the backlash they're going to face. See, Stephen Ross, Kenny Stills exposed something. You start reading this, people didn't know that Stephen Ross owned Equinox, owned Soul Cycle.
And by the way, reportedly, a bunch of people called Equinox and Soul Cycle and canceled their membership.
I've seen a lot of social media.
And that's, but Skip, I'm just trying to figure out, how can you say you're for this and you see what he says?
I got that. But you love Mr. Kraft, as you call him. Robert Kraft.
I do.
He's in the same boat with Stephen Ross.
Yes.
He keeps saying, hey, I've been Donald's friend for 30 or 40 years. Right. Stephen Ross went to 40 years.
Yes.
So at one point, they're just friends because this guy Trump is a big businessman in New York City, an entrepreneur, and I kind of like this guy.
Right.
That has nothing to do with his political or social stances or viewpoints, right? Then he becomes president of the United States. So I ask you this question.
Yes.
At what point do you end a friendship over your longtime friend's political or social stance? Do you see what I mean? Is that a deal breaker? Is that a bridge burner in a friendship that's spanned 40 years?
Skip, I had a conversation with a guy. He said, I remember 50 years ago, if you got married, you wanted someone in the same race. And then, as it started to move forward, you say you want someone in the same religion. Now it's come down to where we are now. You want someone in the same political party. That seems to be the deal breaker. But for me, Skip Bayless, I refuse to be friends with someone if I can't. I just can't.
Remember, your friendship predates what you find out about.
Yeah, but once I find out, see, what I don't know can't hurt me. What I find out will hurt our friendship.
Okay.
That's the way I look at it, Skip Bayless. I just can't. For me, Skip Bayless, and some people, because anything that this administration puts in effect, it can affect Stephen Ross. Everybody doesn't have the luxury of just voting one way. Well, he did this, so I'm voting with that. Or he did that, I'm voting for this. Some people, and I'm glad there have been a lot of people that, you know what, said, you know what, now I could vote, and this is for my best financial means. But for the greater good of the country, when will people set aside money and says, for the greater good of this country moving forward, this is what needs to transpire? Because right now, we're like, yeah, I know he's a racist, but the economy is doing good. Yeah, I know he's taking rights away from, but the economy is doing great. I'm making a lot of money. Come on. Does money mean that much to people, Skip?
Okay, but you still seem to support Robert Kraft, and he continues to say, Donald's my friend, right?
But for me, do I look at Mr. Kraft a little differently before that, I found out he was flying on Air Force One with President Trump and all that? Yes, I do, Skip. But for me, I'm conflicted, and I am, Skip. And I was thinking about that on the way when we finally came to the conclusion that we're going to talk about this. I'm like, man, Mr. Kraft has been so good to me. He's always goes out of his way to speak, and he watches the show and says, we're doing a great job. But damn, the man he supports think less of people of me and people of color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right, Skip. I really never gave it the thought that it probably deserved. But you're forcing me to have to make a decision about a man that I've had respect for, and he's been great. Not good, he's been great.
Agreed. I got it. I'm with you. But in the biggest picture, we're talking about deal-breaking issues at hand here.
Yes.
And by the way, to me, among NFL owners, Robert Kraft, Stephen Ross have been two of the more open-minded, sort of quote-unquote liberal thinking owners. Those two, right?
You see Mr. Kraft, he goes and he stands beside Meek Mill as he's fighting for social justice.
There you go.
He stands beside him and says, this man has been wronged, he's been railroaded, he deserves a fair trial, he needs to be free.
But to your point,
he supports a guy that's...
Okay, but what do you say? Bottom line, these are two big businessmen.
Yeah.
And in the end, that's what's going to prevail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
At the end of the day, money win them. Yeah.
Okay.
Trump's
Got it.
home.
Is that where Flores, what he said makes sense, where the communication part doesn't mean your friendship has to end with Kraft? Could this open up a different dialogue?
Yeah, I would like to have a conversation with him and honestly say, you know how the president feel about people.
I would like to hear about that. I would like to see that happen.